Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Case file number 865, written by Billy Vass Barker Warley, Riding the Wave of Time. First incident. Back in the early 80s, I was looking at an apartment. I had just looked at the empty living room, but quickly popped my head back in and out of the doorway on a whim. In that brief moment, I saw a room full of furniture. I looked again and it was empty. I ended up renting, and quite some time later, I walked into the living room and realized the furniture I had seen was my own, none of which I had at the time, as I slowly gathered it over a period of many months. The second incident. Shortly after I realized I saw my own furniture that day, I was sitting in the living room, same apartment, after a hard third shift, drinking a rum and coke while watching Popeye cartoons, when I heard what sounded like a large dog walking in the kitchen. The sound came to the living room, stopped for a good long moment, then resumed, walking back through the kitchen and suddenly stopping again. I got up and looked, feeling very weirded out by the noise, but nothing. I sat down to finish my drink, and a few minutes later I saw someone vaguely familiar dart their head around the doorframe and immediately pull it back. I yelped and jumped up, running into the kitchen, finding no one again. All doors and windows locked and chained, and no one hiding in a closet or under a bed. I chalked it up to alcohol and exhaustion. Several months later, a friend from work brought their dog over, which they had just got from their parents. I didn't even know they had a dog. It walked in and around the kitchen, then went into the living room for several seconds before re-entering the kitchen and walking out the back door. These were the exact same sounds I had heard months earlier, but experienced from the opposite side of the encounter. It then hit me. The face I saw at the doorway was my own. Since I was in my very early 20s, I chalked it up to possibly becoming unanchored in time. Case notes for file 865, Riding the Wave of Time. I'm labeling these types of glitches as universal peering, universal observation, you could say as well. I think it explains a lot of glitches actually. So think about a pedestrian that's looking to cross a road, looks both ways, even multiple times, and sees nothing, and then crosses the road, and then immediately there's a car right there about to hit him. This happens quite frequently, and also for drivers. Now what's going on there? Are they just blind? They just missed the car barreling towards them? Probably not. What's probably happening is they're actually looking, but the light waves that they're receiving are from a different parallel universe. And in those universes, most things are the same, but in just one case, there's no car coming towards them. But then their perception returns to the normal world, and the light in that world says, hey, there's a car right there, you're gonna die. React. So I think it explains quite a few things, and often mundane things are mundane. I think it could also play into the role of buffered reality. So you're seeing events as they were in a different universe, but buffered ahead as well. It's all just information that's out there in various servers of the simulation. So that data could presumably enter our minds. Why not? As long as we're able to process it. Case file number 866, written by Dead But Dreaming 13. No smoking. Almost 2 years ago, my wife and I took an 8-hour road trip to the desert to celebrate my birthday. Both of us were heavy smokers, and as a birthday gift to myself, I decided to quit. She wasn't as stoked as I was, but since it was my birthday trip, she agreed to let me hog the stereo on my way home, so I could listen to an audiobook called Easy Way to Quit Smoking by Alan Carr. The thing about this book is that the reader is encouraged to smoke while they read, or in my case listen to, the book, and only decide if they want to quit after they have finished. So we're driving and smoking and listening to this book while driving through the mountains of northern Arizona, when we both hear a loud bang at the same time. I feel something hit my chest, followed by my left pectoral muscle getting really cold. I look down and see a puff of smoke coming from the left pocket of the flannel shirt I was wearing at the time. I was 100% sure I had been shot, so I instinctively put my hand under the shirt expecting to feel a bloody hole. But there was nothing there, just a cold patch of skin. So I felt around in the pocket of my shirt and pulled out a bunch of sharp plastic pieces. It took a few seconds to make sense of what had happened. The lighter I was carrying in that pocket had for no apparent reason exploded. The cold feeling came from the butane escaping, which I had mistaken for smoke. I had smoked for over 20 years and had never experienced the lighter spontaneously combust like that. My wife had never experienced it either, and the fact that it happened while listening to a book about not smoking anymore at the exact second I was thinking about lighting up another one makes the whole thing feel a little more like a miracle. Before you ask, this wasn't a high-quality disposable lighter like a Big. This was one of those transparent plastic ones you buy for 89 cents at the gas station, and I had probably used it to open several beers that weekend, so its structural integrity could have been questionable. Still, it's the timing that was pretty incredible. Also, while we continued to smoke for the rest of the drive, we finished the book about the same time we rolled into our driveway, and neither of us have had a cigarette since. Case notes for file 866. No smoking. So first off, I would just want to say that congratulations on quitting smoking, you and your wife. Very good achievement, and it's on par with being very overweight and losing the weight in terms of health improvement over the long term. You literally are saving probably a decade or more on your life. And not just that, but a better life. You might live, some people live, they smoke or they're overweight and they live a long time, but they're not in good health. They can't live a full life doing what they want to do, even though they're alive. So it's not just years lived, it's better years as well. Now, as far as the glitches, well, it is entirely possible that this is all just some giant coincidence. As you say, the lighter was especially cheap and you were opening beer cans with it, so, not every synchronicity or, coincidence has to be a glitch. However, if you really think about it, it does seem to be so well attuned for your life, right? Things just fall into place, and it could be the case, Maybe the universe just decided that, or maybe it was just lucky on your part. And I mean, it really would be lucky in that case because it made you quit smoking. I've had it happen before where I'm listening to a podcast. The very second I walk back home into the door, the podcast is over. It's just a coincidence, I'm pretty sure. It has no real significance. It's just interesting how that happens. But that happening as well as a cigarette lighter just popping? I mean, it's pretty rare for those to explode, even if you bang them up a bit. Make of it what you will, but I'm really glad that it inspired you to quit smoking. Case file number 867, written by Pirates of the Butt. Audio and visuals desynchronized in real life. Happened a few months ago and I've been meaning to post about it here since then, but I'm an expert at procrastination. I was driving in the rain for an extended period of time with the windshield wipers on at a constant speed. There's a distinct sound for when they're going up, as well as a kind of clunk sound when they change direction. Well, after a while, I noticed that the sound was starting to kind of lag behind what I was seeing, and the longer I left them, the more noticeable it got. I'd estimate the desynchronization got up to half a second at one point, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a pretty noticeable delay when it's between seeing something make a sound and actually hearing the sound. Basically the kind of delay you would expect from something 500 feet away. But in my case, it was like 2 or 3 feet away, so like 0.002 seconds. Not something a human is going to be able to pick up on. The sound is coming from a mechanical source, not a speaker somewhere in the vehicle, there for the purpose of making wiper sounds like some electric vehicles have speakers to replicate engine sounds. No glitch in any part of the vehicle could cause an auditory desynchronization like that. This is more like something I would expect to find in a GTA-type game, probably caused by the animation for wipers and the sound being coded to start at the same time and repeat until the wipers turn off. But the audio sometimes lags for a frame before repeating, which causes desynchronization after a long enough time. Personally, I would just code the animation to repeat and the sound to play every time the animation starts instead of having it repeat independently and hope the time syncs up correctly. But that's besides the point. Finding that in a game would be one thing, but in real life? I don't know how else to explain that, other than a glitch in reality itself. Case notes for file 867. Visuals and audio desynchronized in real life. So I've also had moments in my life where it felt like reality wasn't exactly synced, especially in the audio department. I've always just chalked it up to being sleep deprived, as your great Kinetic Symphony often is. It is what it is. Coffee fuels me. There can certainly be cases where things aren't aligning perfectly, and we might just chalk it up towards being tired. Now, if you weren't tired or under the influence of anything, well, yeah, maybe it was just more evidence of the universe being on the fritz, at least our universe. Hopefully we switch servers soon, because seems to be a bit unstable, huh? And those are my notes for the night. I hope you enjoyed. Leave a like and subscribe if you did, and I'm off. Getting more coffee.